Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. Happy Wednesday. So the topic for today is, are you a color artist or a color chartist? And I have to give credit where credit is due. I got that fun little pun from my friend Kristina Russell, who is an amazing redhead specialist from Australia. She's done some collaborations with me. She's a member of the mentor team on the Hairstylist Ultimate Mentorship. And it's so much cuter coming out of her mouth with her adorable Australian accent. She's like, oh, please, you don't want to be a color chartist. You want to be a color artist. And that doesn't sound Australian at all. But anyway, it's cuter. So think about when you buy lipstick. I was putting on my lipstick this morning and I was thinking about what I was going to talk about. And it was just so perfect because I started using these lip crayons. These are from Morphe. Every hair show I've ever taught at that Morphe is there. The line for the Morphe makeup booth is wrapped around the convention center. It's the only crowded booth at every hair show. And I'm like, what is this Morphe and what does it have to do with hair? Like, what is this? And it's just a super reasonable, fun makeup company with, less expensive brushes and all things makeup. And girls like to play with makeup. I'm not one of them. I'm so boring. I always have two lip colors that I mix together and I wear it all the time and I hardly ever change it because I'm super boring and I'm lazy with makeup. But it's a great analogy because when I was at the store, they now have stores in the malls. My mall has a Morphe in PA. My mall here in Florida has a Morphe, so now I know what it is. So I'm shopping, and of course, as with anything that I fall in love with product-wise, my crayon is being discontinued. My deodorant was discontinued. My suntan lotion was everything that I like gets discontinued. I either have really poor taste or expensive taste and other people aren't buying what I'm buying. I don't know what it is, but it happens all the time. So when I'm shopping for a pencil, the first thing I do is look at this little color tip to get an idea, capitalize, bold it, idea, an idea of what the shade is going to be. Now, I am someone who unfortunately gets occasional cold sores on my lips if I spend too much time in the sun, I don't have sunscreen, or if I'm run down, or if I get sick. First thing I do is get a huge thing on my lip. It's the plague. It's awful. Every time I'm going somewhere special or vacation or getting a picture taken, I'm so worried that that's going to be when it rears its ugly head. So I would never put a mall tester on my lips. I see women do it all the time and I cringe. They're just like, oh, let me try this. And they put it right on their lips. And especially now with what we know about COVID and how disgusting that is. So the first thing I do is I look at the tip and I say, oh, that looks like my Barbie pink that I usually end up going with, like a neutrally pink. That's a good sign. And then I take the lid off and I look at the tip, and I don't know about you, but the tip never looks like this says it's going to, right? So this tip is much deeper, pinker, brighter, bolder than this neutral tip, which this is what I wanted. This is what I got, right? And then I'll take it and I'll do this, right? I'll put it on my hand because that's my skin tone. So if I were to draw this on an envelope in my purse or on a napkin or some other surface that's not my skin, it's really not going to tell me what that shade is going to look like on me. If my friend is with me and she has super olive skin and dark brown hair and she puts the same exact lipstick on her hand, it's going to look like a completely different color. How many times have you been at a party and you talk to someone and you go, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with your lip color. What is it? And if you're me, you take out your phone and you put it in your notes section, the exact name and everything, and you go home and you go online, you order it and you get it and you're like, that doesn't look anything like that on me. She's lying. She either mixed that with 6 other things or she's full of shit. She doesn't want me having her same lip color. But that's not what it is. It's that it's going to look different on me because of my skin color and a whole other factors. What color are my lips that it's going on? Do I have super pink, bright lips, or do I have practically the color of my skin lips? Everyone has different pigment in their lips. Why am I talking about lipstick? because the same thing goes for hair color. So I see people, I just had my hair done by a friend, and that was something new. I had never had her do my hair before. I was at her salon suite, and I was so excited because the morning of when I was going to see her for my hair, I had planned on just getting a glaze. I was like, my hair is super urine yellow. I talk about it all the time on here, how Florida water, no matter how blonde I am, a couple weeks of shampooing it and it's urine yellow. So I was like, oh, I've heard a lot about those Shinefinity glazes and I haven't tried them yet. She has them. So I was like, do you have all the colors in stock? Because I have been wanting to try that blush pink. I'm such a wimp. I never go for it. And I want to try that blush pink just once. I don't have any shows coming up. I don't have anywhere that I need to be. And if I hate it, oh, well, who cares? It'll go away or I'll fix it. So she says, yeah, I have all the colors, come over. So the morning of, I got this in the mail. This is a prototype of something that I'm working on bringing to you as colorists to use in the salon for the very reason that I'm talking about this topic today. Hair color in the swatch book from the manufacturers, they never tell you what this is 9/8 in permanent color, right? So if we're a color chartist and we look at this chart and our client looks at the chart, which I don't recommend, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, and you point to it and you say, do you like that color? And she has my natural color, which is the level 5, and she goes, oh my gosh, I love that. And you pull this tab out, you better believe she expects her hair to look like this when she's done. And what do you think is going to happen? This swatch was done on white thread, not even hair, it's white thread. So do you think for a second that if I put this on level 5, which is the color of my eyebrows, if I put this 9/8 on level 5 eyebrows, do you think I'm going to get this beautiful shimmery silver? There's no way on God's green earth that's going to happen. It's not happening. So we are under this false sense of security of, can you get me one of those swatch books? I see it on forums every day. What do I have to do to get a Redken Shades EQ swatch book? I need that swatch book. And I answer every single time, please make your own swatch book, because that swatch book is going to lead you down a really not good road of making a whole lot of mistakes. At my in-person retreat here in Florida in March, we did a swatching exercise with the members of my Hair Color Secrets Insiders, and it was one of the most impactful things we've ever done together as a group, because I gave different shades to each different table, and I gave each different table 3 different levels, starting levels of swatch. So this started on a level 8 and is an 8GG. And look at that color. Like, that is not a pretty color. You would picture an 8GG to be like this buttery, gold spun color, out of a loom. And it's like this weird greeny orangey gold. I could go on forever. This started out as a level 9. And an 8, V as in Victor, B as in boy, was put on it. We think, oh, violet beige, that would be gorgeous on my brassy level 8. And look at what it looks like. It's very deep, murky purple. So I got to thinking about that after the exercise. I was like, okay, so even when we swatch, we're not getting what we thought we were going to get. And then what? The swatch of a color by itself is mostly disappointing. So then you see people on forums as well, not mine, but other forums. You see them sharing formulas. And one of my members sent me a picture and we all laughed about it. It was literally 6 colors. She's like, oh, you asked me for my formula? 10T, 10GI, 9V, 9RB, 8VB. Like, she named 6 different cool toned shades in Shades EQ. Redken Shades EQ, most of those shades are what they call pre-blended. So this is a 6NB. So it's 2 different things already blended in a bottle that also contains something called background color. So you have really 3 to 4 things going on in this bottle. So if I have 3 to 4 things going on in this bottle and then I add 5 more bottles, what do you think is going to happen? If I have 6 times 2, I have 12 different things going on in that bottle or bowl. How well do you think it's going to turn out? At best, everything is going to cancel everything out and you're going to have a safe, boring N, because, you know, the golds that were in there were canceled by the violets that happen to be in there, and the violets added to the this in there, and it's a shit show. So how amazing would it be to be able to prevent the guessing, the Hail Marying, the, oh my gosh, please let this turn out, which I know I have been there and I'm still there. I was there just getting my own hair done. So if you saw me last week versus today, you'll see I'm very cooled off. This is very cool. I want you to take a second, and this camera is really not showing it the way that it looks in person. It looks much deeper on the camera, but I want you to guess. I was urine yellow, and she glazed me with Shinefinity. I don't expect you to know the numbering system on Shinefinity, but I want you to say, you know, level 7 this, level 8 that, just the tone and the level. It doesn't have to be an exact formula, but I want you to guess what was put on my ends when she glazed me to what it looks like now, because I think you'll be very, very surprised at what the formula was. There's your hint. So I'm going to take a minute because there's always a delay. I'm going to come up close, get right in your face. Hope I don't have any bats in the cave in my nose. So urine yellow to this with Wella Shinefinity. Tammy said, yes, it was a good exercise in learning doing the swatches. I agree. I think every person should do it at least once. You don't have to do your whole entire line. Just do 6 colors, you know? So I'm seeing numbers, but I'm not seeing tones. Tammy said 8 and 7. Charles said 8. But what tone do you think is on here? I hate that Facebook doesn't show me anymore how many people are on here. I can't tell if there's 2 of you or 200 of you. So I'm just waiting on some answers before I give away what it actually is. Let me look on my phone because I'm not seeing all the comments, or everybody's still asleep or they forgot about me today, but that's okay. Yep, there's way more comments on here than I see. Thanks, Johnny. So Amy's saying she's liking 913 in Shinefinity. And Cheryl says a B tone. Okay, so I'm not going to make you sweat it anymore because people are not playing in my sandbox today. So I said that I had mentioned that I wanted to try the pink tones, and she had the pink tone color. So what was nice about the pink is it has a 0 in front of the 5. So it was a level 9, and 0 means neutral, and then 5 is a secondary tone, which is the palest red violet in that line. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And because there's so much neutral in there, I'm just going to go for it and stop being such a wimp. And Johnny's on here. He knows how much of a wimp I am. So we did 1 3/4 ounces of clear, which is important in this conversation. I knew how porous my hair was, and I knew it was going to grab anything that we put on there. And knowing that it's a level 9, I didn't want to drop levels. I didn't want to be any darker. I just didn't want to be yellow anymore. So I was like, make sure you use a ton of clear because I don't know this line. I don't know how much it's going to drop, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't do a swatch. We just trusted the process. And she did a 1/4 ounce of the 9-stroke 05, which is the blush pink. And then I said, I want you to literally do a chocolate chip. And I'm talking a Nestle's semi-sweet morsel, those tiny little chocolate chips, not big chunks in a, chunky chocolate chip cookie. So tiny little drop that really shouldn't even measure on the scale. So she did a little drop and she shook it up and she put it on for 20 minutes. Now, does this look like blush to you? It is not blush at all, but look at how much it killed the gold. So it was like a pale red violet, which you would think red, oh my gosh, you're adding more warmth. But that's why when you see people talk about like, make sure you add a little bit of warmth in those drab formulas, because the drab is super drab and hair is super porous. So because of that, Johnny and I have been talking. Johnny usually does my hair. He was on vacation. His whole family was sick. I did not want to bother him at all. Just being a brat. It had only been 2 weeks since Johnny did my hair, and I just spent way too much time in the sun. So I said, I have to come up with a tool for colorists because I'm a full-time educator and this is what I do. And somebody needs to come up with something that can save us from ourselves so that we can test something before we do it. So Johnny and I are talking about it all the time, every time he does my hair. And I'm like, don't you think it would be cool to have like a set of swatches here in a binder that you can pluck out a piece of hair that's very close to what the hair looks like when the client either comes in or is lifted to, that while I'm doing the consultation, I can be testing that pink straight or the pink with the chocolate chip of silver or, an AA or a GG or whatever it may be. So this is the love child of that experiment, and it just came in, and I brought it to my appointment to get my glaze done. And my friend said, let me grab one of my friends that works here and you can show it to her because she doesn't watch your coffee chats. She doesn't know you and she's not a member of your group. So she won't know anything about it. And she'll be a good person to see, like, if you brought this tool to a hair show and had it for sale, would she get it? First of all, would she get what it is and would she want to buy it? So we hand it to her and she's like, oh, okay. And she immediately opens it like this, which you would, right? Because it's like a book. So she opens it up and there's all of this writing, right? This is all like how to use it, when in doubt, swatch it out, a color chart, all this stuff. She didn't pay one bit of attention. She immediately went like this. And she's like, oh, what is it? What's this for? And I said, well, if you took the time to read what was here before you went inside, that's the reason this is done this way, to save you from yourself, because we all get excited about a gift, right? We want to fully open it. So she didn't take the time to do it, and she didn't go back to it. She just was like looking at it, and she goes, well, what levels are these? And I said, I don't know. What levels are they? It's on the page in front of you. So I had to actually walk her through step by step. And what my intention is that prior to getting my glaze done, my color was looking a little bit like this. It's not exact because it's not here anymore to show you, but it was just, that typical yellowy blonde that we hate, and just enough to be annoying, but still at a pale level. So this is a level 9 swatch. So if I'm lightening somebody, if I'm highlighting her and I'm saying like, I'm not sure what I'm going to glaze her with, or even if I'm going to glaze her, or say you want to do a root shadow, but you're not really sure how deep to go at the root. Now you can pull this out of that swatch, put it up to her hair, see which one of these 3 shades of blonde is the closest to what she has on her hair. Or if she has multiple shades, now you know you need multiple formulas, which, when's the last time you did that, right? We tend to just dump one thing over the whole head. So she can pull this out and she can put it on a piece of foil and put what she thinks she's going to use on this hair while she's draping her client, while she's mixing up the lightener, while she's doing other things, and it can fully process. And then she can take that same thing, lay it in the person's hair next to their face and say, oh, that's way too, like for me, this is a little more ashy than I would like. And I know it's going to lighten up as soon as I shampoo it a few times, but I would have liked to have seen what it would look like before we actually did it, because I know I'm so porous. So that is the intention with this tool. I was super excited when the sample came. I was completely deflated and defeated when she didn't get it. She didn't get what it was. And the reason that she didn't get it was she is a true 100% example of a color chartist. I said, well, how do you do your formulation? And she has a cute little accent as well. And she said, I show them the chart. I take the chart out, and I just happen to have this chart here. I don't use this color, but this is a chart that was sent to me. And she says, I hold this up and I show them. And when they pick it, then I say, well, your hair's not going to look exactly like that, but I'm glad that you showed me what you like. So I'm going to go mix up something else. And it's not going to look like that on your hair, but that's like a general. And I'm like, well, that's not a good way to do. I didn't say that to her, but I was like, well, that's kind of confusing for the client. And she kept talking about how she was trying to explain it to the client. And I said, well, wouldn't it be nicer to be able to actually show it to the client on a physical swatch? And she said, yeah, but I have the chart. They already did the chart for me. I said, but do you understand that that chart is done on white thread and not human hair? And that this prototype is the most high quality human hair that you can get. It's like extension, beautiful human hair that someone would wear on their head. It's not, the inexpensive kind that you can find on Amazon. But the point is, I was struggling to explain to her the difference of this high quality testing tool, and she was my first person. So I don't know that I'm going to go through with it. I'm still on the fence. I would love feedback from you as well. Would you use a tool like that? Do you understand what I'm talking about in using a tool like this? It was important to me to include 50% gray, 50% level 5 hair. And when I showed her that, she said, well, everybody has different percentages of gray. And I said, I know, but if you test it on someone who has 50% gray, you can use your judgment. If you're a good colorist, you know the difference between lower percentages of gray and higher percentages of gray, but at least you know what the tone is going to be on lifting a level 5. Nothing I could have said to her would convince her to buy this, because she, of all people, needs it the most. So it's usually the people that need the tool the most that don't get what they would possibly use it for, because they don't really understand how hair color works. So I'd love to hear from you all on whether you think it's a great idea or not. It's a very, very, very expensive project for me. And I have to go all in. I can't go halfway. I can't order 20 of them and see how it goes. My son had a great idea. He's like, Mom, just do a Kickstarter campaign where you pre-sell them. Show people what it's like, do a video, show how it works, and then pre-sell them. And if you get a lot of interest and a lot of them sell, then you'll know to order the big, huge, I think I have to order 5,000 or something crazy in the first initial order, because it's all custom. So I thought that was a great idea too. So I would love to hear from you on whether you think that's a good idea, but I'd also love for you to understand from this coffee chat that that is really the biggest problem in our formulation, is that we are trusting the lipstick tip, right? So my lips, this first, all over my lip, and then this to calm it down a little bit and make it less Barbie. So the two of these, nothing like what's on my lips. Nothing. Not even close. These look more brown and more neutral. I can't get. And it's Barbie pink. So perfect example of us trusting in these manufacturers' swatches. They do their best, right? They do their best to try to give us some sort of idea of what the color is going to look like. But I don't know about you, but I don't want any of these tones on my hair. And these are all the tones that we glaze with every single day in Shades EQ when we're guessing and being color chartists, not color artists. If you are on here and you are a Hair Color Secrets insider, don't forget the pre-sale for the October retreat is in our Facebook group. So head over, and if you can join us in October, I would love to see you. You're saving $100 on the in-person event, Beauty at the Beach, by signing up now before, I think the deadline for the pre-sale is August 8th. So I know it's a little bit of short notice, but I found with past events and retreats, people are either coming or they're not, and giving them 6, 8, 9 months just ends up having people cancel because things come up in their life. So I felt like people Really want it to be together in person, and it's an absolutely beautiful venue, and it's a view of the ocean, a view of the bay, beautiful sunsets, cocktails on the rooftop, infinity pools, and all of the things. So I'm so excited to meet you in person. If you are able to make it, that would be amazing. It's going to be a small group event, so no worries about being in too big of a crowd and all of the things going on with our health these days. So small group, very intimate, lots of learning and lots of getting to know the educators on a personal level, which is what I love about my smaller events. So thanks for listening to the Coffee Chat. Check out this week's podcast. I poured my heart out about a personal story about my son. It's one of my favorite episodes because it talks about having the inspiration to make change. And sometimes the nudge that we get from the universe is not pleasant, but necessary. So give a listen on the Ask the Color Expert podcast. It's on iTunes, Spotify, any place you would listen to a podcast. And I would love for my Coffee Chat people who come here every week to take the time to leave me a review on iTunes, because then iTunes sees that people are listening and they push it out to other hairdressers. And that is my goal, to meet and share with as many hairdressers as possible. So have a great rest of your week, and I will see you on the next Coffee Chat. Have a great weekend.